Hi fellas, welcome back. I put a Q&A out on the Facebook page, so we're going to have a Q&A video today. Before we start that, quick little update on what's been happening in here. Not a vast amount, but I've got the place cleaned up, spiggity span. Everything's nice and clean. Everything's been put back in its rightful place, and it makes me feel a little bit more like coming in here and doing something. I didn't before, when everything was in a shit. I had to try and find time to gut the place, but I have found time. It's all nice and clean, and it means we can now start working on the pots a little bit more. Have a look at that Hermes coil, see if we can get it fitted in. Also, the wife has agreed to release some funds for me to use in here, which you may be like, woohoo, that's awesome. But I'm thinking, what does she want? What is the price of this money coming forward? To me, it's like receiving one of them emails from some Nigerian prince with a boatload of diamonds, and all you've got to do is give him £2,000. I'm going to take it, but I'm still unsure on what I'm actually going to have to do for it. But hopefully that can go towards, you know, building the control panel. Freaking rights. So that's all coming up. Let's crack on with this Q&A. Oh, there's my phone. I had some really good questions actually. So let's jump straight into it with Mr. Harrison of Harrison's Brewery. What is the biggest thing made of rubber that you've had up your bum? And how does that measure up to the biggest thing you've had up your bum ever? Well, can you remember that time I was up with you and the heat went out? John Green. Is it true women find men who can drink more than 8 pints very attractive indeed? I've seen you drink 8 pints, John, and I've also seen how you can repel the women. So, Kenny, Ronald, Goraley, sparge or no sparge, boil in a bag, starter or just throw 2 packs of yeast. Cheers. Well, this is going to be another question that people down below in the comments will be able to give you a little bit more of an insight on, because I haven't done boil in a bag. I just jumped straight into all grain. But if I was going to do boil in a bag, I would still imply the knowledge that I've got for the all grain brewing on the 3-vessel system and probably sparge the bag. However, I know there are people out there that predominantly do boil in the bag. Boil in the bag, brew in a bag. Have I been calling it boil in a bag the whole time? Brew in a bag. And they'll probably tell you that they don't sparge. They'll probably tell you that they use a finer crush as well. Starter or pitching 2 packs. Well, I think I've mentioned it before on this, but I don't bother with the starter. I just either pitch the liquid yeast if I buy liquid yeast, or I just pitch dry straight in. But that's just me. There are people that do it differently. That's fine. Andrew Rustus. Good old Stas. Good old Stas. What beer styles are you most excited to try and brew, and why? I tell you what, I am wanting to, I don't know if I'm excited about doing it, but what I'm wanting to achieve and nail, and that's a New England IPA. I've done a couple in the past. They've never really turned out true New England IPA style-y. I'm looking to brew one that's really milky, cloudy, and as yet I have pretty much failed at achieving that. So I'm looking forward to eventually nailing one of them on the top of the noggin. Damien, Larry, Coconut IPA updates. Where are they? When do you want to do your first brew with the new equipment? The wait is agonising. You think it's agonising? Jesus Christ. Alright, Coconut IPA updates. Where are they? What do you mean? The leaderboard? Or do you mean updates on actually brewing? I was actually thinking of doing the coconut IPA here as the next brew, and doing what Harry's done, because Harry's recently brewed it over at Harrison's Brewery, but he's crushed or chopped up, food processed the coconut, made it finer, and it sounds like a really good idea for using the same amount of coconut but introducing more of that coconut flavour instead of just adding more coconut toasted flakes. So I'm going to be doing that, I think. So that's an update on the coconut IPA as a beer and brewing it. I think I'm going to try that next, make finer the coconut, see how it changes the recipe. When do you want to do your first brew in the new equipment? As soon as it's finished. It has been agonising, and it's been annoying because I went into the project with such force. The money was flowing in from me selling the stuff that I was selling. I bought the pots, and then the money just dried up that I was putting in there. So I'm solely relying on the Patreon that was designed for projects like this to keep them rolling, so I can keep putting content out there. So at the minute, the Patreon guys are keeping it moving, but hopefully when I have the release of the funds from the missus, then we can really make a big dent in, I think, the control panel is what I'm going to do next. I'm going to put that together because these pots are pretty much now completed. It has been annoying because I've wanted to keep it on a nice schedule and a nice roll, and it's just not happened. It's sort of ground a little bit to instead of a sprint, we're down to like a walk. So it hasn't finished, it hasn't stopped, but I'd like to pick that pace up a bit, and I do apologise to people for that who are wanting to see it happen. Alexander Berget. Ever done any brews with fruit? What is your weirdest adjunct you ever put in a brew? Have you considered brewing a sour? What's the most successful brew you've ever done? Sorry, what's your most successful brew? Ever thought about a yeast bank? Making a brewed IPA soon? Cryo hops, what's your opinion? How many questions have we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Greedy son of... Okay, let's rattle through these a little bit quick, otherwise this video is going to be massive. Ever done any brews with fruit? Not that I can remember, but I am wanting to do the White Elephant Hefe, I think that's what I called it, and add fruit to that. What's the weirdest adjunct? I can't think what the weirdest one is. Probably coconut to an IPA. Have you considered brewing a sour? Yes, I have, but the thing that's putting me off is then having a dedicated fermenter for souring, and I haven't really looked into kettle souring. So I've thought about it and then stopped thinking about it. What's your most successful brew? The coconut IPA. Ever thought about a yeast bank? Nope. I've got room to store yeast. Making a Brut IPA soon? Nope. I know it's the new thing, but I haven't really given it much thought. Cryo hops, what's your opinion? I have no opinion. On cryo hops. Moving on, Kevin Walsh. Have you thought about getting some conical fermenters? Yes. Yes, once the brewery is completed, the new kit, then I'll be looking into either conical fermenters, stainless steel, or just stainless steel fermenters that aren't conicaled. Either way, I'm more wanting to move into stainless steel fermenters than anything else. Sam Vagcom. Phew. Sam, I apologise for butchering your name. Setting up and using secondary regs for kegerator. And could you do a grain to glass of a fruit pale ale raspberry? As I want to do one, but I'm a noob to all grain. Cheers. Right, setting up and using secondary regs for kegerator. I don't know what that means. Do you mean how I've set mine up? I've just got them in line to the regs, to the main gas bottle, and then I just use them to control each keg independently, instead of having a bar that's all running at the same pressure with taps on it to shut off the gas, turn on the gas. Having secondary regs means you can have different pressures for each keg that it's serving, if that's what you mean. I'll do a video on it if you want. If that's the case, leave another message below in this video and I'll give you a closer look at the regs in the keezer. And a grain to glass of a fruit pale ale raspberry, and you're new to it. So if I was going to do a raspberry pale ale, and I know there are people as well, because I've not yet included fruit in a pale ale, things like that. But there's people like Adam at Brewery that do milkshake IPAs and whatnot. He could probably give you a bit more information about adding fruit to pale ales and IPAs, etc., because he's done it. But if I was going to do it, I'd be adding my fruit in the fermentation. Terry Harrison, just started using pellet hops. The recipe I'm using calls for 6% alpha acid, yet the ones I have are 7. Is there a calculator to ensure the correct alpha acids up or down, apart from just adding a few more or less to get the correct alpha acids in the brew? The only time I've ever had to change the alpha acids is if Beersmith is telling me that the hops that I'm using are 6% alpha acid, but the hops that I've got say 7 on the pack, then I would just change the hops in Beersmith to 7, and then it will adjust the recipe accordingly. And that's how I've done it before in the past. John Oldgeist Jr., what's your top 5 beers, homebrew, commercial? You've come a long way from your first couple of videos. Damn straight, it's been a long time. It's been a long time. What is it? It's coming on 6-7 years, something like that, since we started. My God. Almost seems like yesterday. Top 5 beers, homebrew and commercial. The 2014 SJ Challenge had a couple of blinders in there. The Baltic Porter that Grant Baker, that was amazing. The Coconut IPA, I know it's one of mine, but it's probably one of the best ones that I've done. I'm into Citra at the minute. I'm drinking it quite a bit, and I'm also getting into some Vocation beers. They are making some cracking beers. Don't know if that's 5, but you get the gist. Kevin Scanlon, wanting to get into water treatment. Where's a good place to start? Do you send your water away for testing, or just read a water report for your area? Well, I suppose it depends how seriously you want to get into it. When Tony Yates came over, when we brewed the Norseman at Isle of Valley, I took a sample of my water with me and he tested it. But if I was doing it deadly serious, then I would buy the same kit that he was using and test the water like every 6 months or something like that, or every 3 months or something, just to see if my water has changed, to keep on top of it. And then with them recorded calculations that we got from our water, I can then adjust in Beersmith. A good place to start would be getting the book on water treatment. I think it's who does the bloody book? What's his name? Is it John Palmer's Water? Another place to look is Tony Yates. Tony Yates has got videos out there about water treatment, so check out his videos. What do you struggle with most in the brew shed? What do you wish you could have in there but cannot? And I'm toying with the idea of converting my shed, but my only water source would be a garden hose, and the electric supply would not be sufficient for brewing. Right, what do I struggle with most in the brew shed? In the winter time, mould. I've said it many times before. It's a single brick, uninsulated shed, and because I've got the keezer and the fermentation fridge in here, they're kicking out heat. The moisture that's in here in the winter everything gets mouldy, so I have to keep on top of it, and it's a pain in the arse, and I cannot wait when we eventually move. We'll be moving into a place I will make sure it has a garage or something that I can keep warm, and I'll be able to enjoy it a lot better when I know I'm in a place that isn't getting mouldy in the winter. But that's a struggle every winter. I have to keep on top of it. It's fine, it doesn't affect anything. If I don't come in here for a number of weeks, then I've got a real job cleaning everything up. So that's what I struggle with mostly, and space. There's a lot of stuff that I would like to do, a lot of projects I'd like to slowly incorporate in here, but I just haven't got the space for it. What do you wish you could have in there but cannot? I wish I could have a bigger, taller fridge with a glass front on it for fermenting conicals in. But again, I haven't got the space, so I'm stuck with this little fridge, and the buckets fit in there, and that's why if I go with conical, I'm going to have to think of other ways of controlling the fermentation. So bigger fridges for fermenting in, so I could get bigger conicals in there. You're getting the water down there, you're using the garden hose, but you could get what Harry's got, and it's got that milking hose, so you could attach that to your tap and run the water through that if the garden hose is bothering you. And the electrics supply is not sufficient. You could get someone in to put you something sufficient in, maybe look into that. But if it isn't sufficient, I know a lot of people do the induction hobs. Red Dog, he uses them, the Buffaloes, and he'll be able to tell you what they're like. So that's a way of doing all grain electric brewing without having to put elements in things. And Jay, finish with Jay. Is it true you cultivate USO5 behind your foreskin? No, USO4 actually, because it doesn't quite. And that's it, that concludes a Q&A. I think we had some very good questions in there. I'm sure if I haven't answered sufficiently for you, I'm sure people in the comments will be able to pick up the question and add a little bit more to it. And that's it, fellas. So as always, don't forget to thumbs video if you're new. Don't forget to hit the like and hit subscribe, click more sound. Alright, jump in again, see. Until next time, I'm out of here.